Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic St. Patrick's Day. And this is going to be a very quick episode of Canon news for this week. Today, Canon dropped a surprise firmware that's kind of a surprise, but not so much of a surprise for the Canon R5 and the Canon R6. It's a surprise because we didn't know it was going to be today. It's not a surprise because we did know that it was coming in March because they let us know that in patch 1.5.1. So this looks to be the continuation of that patch where it's going to fix some more of the autofocusing issues with the R5 and R6. One of the main ones is if you have an 800mm or the new 1200mm lens and you're using the RF extenders, you will now get increased autofocus performance. Now, the next thing this firmware is going to address is the stability of eye detection. Back in firmware 1.5, people were saying their eye autofocus was no longer working as well as it had previously. So hopefully this patch will correct and address that issue. The third is going to be autofocus tracking when tracking moving subjects. That is another thing back in firmware 1.5, where after that firmware people were having issues with the tracking of moving subjects. The last firmware, once I upgraded to it, it did feel like it corrected it a little bit, even though it wasn't directly addressed in the firmware. However, this 1.5.2 does directly address that issue. Now, as always, if you're somebody who works with your camera daily, I do suggest you refrain from downloading the firmware. Give it a couple of days, a week, see if there's anything negative that impacts the cameras from the firmware before updating your work camera. Now, I'm personally going to be updating my R5 to this firmware as I finally upgraded to the 1.5.1, had no issues, but because this firmware addresses some of the issues I've been having with my camera, I really want to see how much better it performs after the update. All right, that's going to wrap up this segment of Canon News. As always, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to the channel for more news updates as well as camera and technology reviews. And with that being said, until next time.